I'm Connor Northrup. I'm now joined by UFC middleweight Tafon Nchukwi, who takes on Jun Yong Park at UFC on ESPN 24, May 8th. How are you, Tafon?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Doing great. How about yourself?
Good, good. And like I said before, we kind of got started here. Thank you so much for the time. I know it's always tough with the weight cut, especially this close to fights. I really do appreciate you taking the time and allowing me to get to speak to you.
Yeah, no problem, man. I mean, during this time, I'm really not the best at socializing, and even when people reach out, I try to get back to you because it's just not the best time, and I don't want to give you guys like super low energy. I want to be myself completely when I'm having a interview, so I can, have we can both have fun with it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I think the last time I talked to you, it was you weren't even in the UFC yet. I think it was right before your Dana White's Contender Series fight. So,
Hmm.
what has that time been like? Since then, obviously you got the contract, you got your first UFC win. So, what has the time kind of been like since we last talked?
I mean, it's been great. I mean, there hasn't really been much that has changed other than like, I mean, training wise, training has gone up like crazy, because
Yeah,
now we're in the big show, so which we gotta go to get to the top. So we gotta pick up the training. I mean, that hasn't really changed much, and everything else is pretty much the same because things are still pretty much shut down. So all I still do is the same: train, come home, sleep. I mean, I've also picked up a lot like during these times, just more so like focusing on my eating habits, since the weight class changed. Yeah,
yeah,
been more focus on that. And yeah, nothing really too big has changed.
yeah, yeah. It's funny you bring that up too, because I think the last time we talked, at that point you hadn't even fought at 205 yet. I think you were kind of starting to make the jump down. Then
Mm.
you made your 205 debut in that Contender Series fight, and then middleweight too. You're not dropping down to welterweight for this one, are you? I'm just kidding,
Nah,
but
nah, it's like every time we talk to me, I'm going to a whole different weight class.
yeah,
185 is where we at now, and that's what we're gonna stick to until further notice. So
yeah,
you get
that's
in too
good.
many more surprises from that. From
But
Yeah.
I am interested too, though. Just being a guy who's obviously like newer to the UFC, you obviously have the one UFC win under you too. But what has it been like as far as Because I feel like nowadays, it takes more to build your brand than just winning in the UFC. You kind of have to have that be a character and things like that too. So like, how have you kind of balanced, I guess, both of those? Like, kind of building a fan base, but also focusing on what really matters is getting the wins.
I mean, I haven't really had too much of a problem with that because like all I have to do is really try to be myself and just like make time to like show the people a little bit more of who I am, and like people usually seem to to get drawn to that pretty well because
Yeah.
Instagram, just trying to be myself, being the goofy self that I am, making my videos, it draws people to me. It's just trying to do that and balance that while training and not really having much time to try to, tailor to building that reach to people. I mean, I'm still working on it. It's just just gotta find that balance for right now. But I feel like it's gonna get easier the more I just keep working on it, and I'm doing that. I'm gonna work on that for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I think authenticity goes a long way in this sport too, and I also think if you keep winning and things like that too, I think sometimes the fans kind of come to you eventually anyway, so, um, but I did see that you actually have a YouTube channel. I saw you're kind of pushing that more like on your Instagram too. So like, is that kind of part of it too? Like just like putting yourself out there like a little bit more?
Right, yeah. YouTube has also been like a new avenue, which I've been trying to reach out a little bit more, trying to make as many posts on there because just to try to show people a little bit more of who I am and like
Yeah.
how what I do during the day, and that seems to be building pretty slowly. But I think have to be more consistent, like I said before, with it, and I'm pretty sure that's gonna grow. It's not gonna grow overnight as much as I would like that to be the case. I'm just gonna take my time, put out content to which I feel people would appreciate or want to see, and from there we're just gonna keep moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like YouTube is so hard to break into nowadays too because there are so many people doing it. Like if you flash back like 5 years, maybe not that many UFC fighters really had channels, but now, I mean, there's a good handful I know I've at least talked to that all have YouTube channels are kind of trying to build them up too. So it's interesting to see everyone go that route, but I think it's great for the fans too because like you said, you're getting a little more look into guys like you that you want to get obviously from like a UFC broadcast or things like that. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely not easy to try to jump into that YouTube. That's why I wish I would have done this a little bit earlier, just so I can, as I was coming up throughout my career, just to make it easier. Because now it's like I'm adding this on top of other stuff which I have to do. So,
for
and
sure.
the way YouTube is now, definitely it's competitive, and they're trying to build now. But I'm gonna make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and then let's talk about the UFC debut too, because like I said, I haven't talked to you since right before you were on the Contender Series. So the UFC debut, you had the win over Jamie Pickett, but that was also your first time going 3 rounds too. So what were some of your biggest takeaways, I guess, from that debut and the win?
Yeah. I took away a lot from that actually, man. It was actually a good thing that it did go all 3 rounds because now whenever I need to, I can do more. Like I guess when I watch my fight, I learned a lot from watching that fight and seeing that I need to be a little bit more patient and stop being hesitant when I see the kill shot. I got to take my time and make sure I do the right moves to get it finished because there was a lot of opportunities there where I could have finished that fight, but because of me just being in the mindset of I'm gonna put this man out, it kind of slipped away. And also just, and it was a really good experience altogether, though. I mean, I wouldn't take anything away from it. I would say I learned a lot from that fight for sure.
Yeah. Is there one moment of that fight? I know you said there was a couple where you thought maybe you could put them away. Is there one that really stands out where you're just like, oh man, I was, 1 or 2 steps away from, maybe, ending that one?
Yeah, I think in the third round when I landed that head kick and then he dropped. There was so many other things I could have done rather than just jump on him like that. I could have taken my time and I could have also gone for the submission, which we were working on throughout the whole camp. But then in my head was just finish, finish, finish with the hands, and I didn't take that opportunity. That was there, and there was also a time in the second round too when I had him down when I could have also gone for the finish with a submission, but I didn't go through with that. So now that I've watched it, I'm like, okay, I need to take my time, slow things down in my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't focus on just knocking people out. Choke them out too. Put them to sleep. Shipping.com.
We were kind of talking about this before we start recording, but obviously UFC 261 just happened. That had a crowd. How much does the crowd affect you? Because say there was a crowd in that debut, do you think maybe you would have gotten the finish just based off, say you do rock him with that head kick too? You hear all the screams. Does that alter anything in your brain, or do you kind of just stay more focused in your head and that wouldn't really like change anything that you would do?
um, Either way, I felt well with the crowd there. I feel like I'm a fighter who also feeds off from the crowd too. Which
Hmm.
sometimes is a good thing, sometimes it's not. But I feel like the energy from the crowd does sometimes influence the way I perform too. But I didn't mind fighting with no crowd because it did feel like a regular sparring session in the gym. There really no pressure, and I was just able to hear my coaches, which is always a big thing. I mean, I'm always able to hear them, but this time I'm like they're right there, like
Yeah.
right there in my ear. So it's like it was a pretty good experience. But I think I would like to have that experience fighting in front of a crowd, especially like a crowd like the card that just happened, sold out. That would be a marvelous experience right there. I can't
For
wait for that.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you were fighting with no crowd, could you ever hear the commentators? I know there's a few fighters who actually would talk to the commentators sometimes too.
I don't know how they over there focus on the commentators. I'm focused on my coaches, what what I'm there for. I like the commentators is never even the whole time I was there. I didn't even hear the commentators once.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They must have some pretty good hearing, or they just not focus on what they're supposed to be doing. Because for me, all I heard when I was in there was just my coaches, and just I guess I heard my corners coaches as well, but that's about it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I forget who it was, but I remember there was one fight. And I think this was earlier into the whole no fans thing either, but it was one
Mhm.
fighter, and I think it was Cormier who was like, "Oh, he looks tired," and the guy like just turns to Cormier,
Oh
he's like, "No,
yeah,
I'm not," or something like
yeah.
that.
I can't remember who it is either, but I
Yeah,
think I
that was
remember
a great moment. But I talked to you about what you learned from the fight, but what did you kind of learn from the weight cut too? Did you make any different changes this time around for to drop down to 185?
Oh yeah, definitely. Biggest thing is just diet, staying disciplined on the diet. I mean, I've learned a lot more about like my relationship with food has had to change a lot. I mean, I could it could have been a lot easier if I would have been ahead of it right after my last fight, and it wouldn't be as like as tasking on me right now. But yeah, definitely learned a lot on how to like my relationship with food, when to eat, how to eat, depending on how I work out and all of that. That's been the main things which I've taken away from this whole process for sure. And I'm planning to keep it up after this one because I'm trying to get as busy as I can this year. So I need to I need to stay in the competition like range to where I can make that weight whenever I need to,
Yeah,
and be ready for anything. I want to be super busy as much as I can for the rest of this year because next
yeah,
year I want to be in the talks. I want people to know who I am.
absolutely. If you could have it your way too, do you have a number in your mind of how many times you like to fight before the end of the year?
Yeah, I know with things opening up now, it's probably gonna be harder to have the little COVID, like, last last minute, like every week, like what's his name?
Kevin Holland, he
Yeah,
was one of the
Kevin
guys that
Holland,
kind of was jumping
those other
around.
guys. He definitely took advantage of that year and made big things out of it. So if it's up to me, I mean, four. If I can get four, I'll be happy with that. I
Yeah,
mean, it's getting to the middle of the year now, so it's like, we're gonna see what happens. I want to
yeah,
get as much as I can in, As
for
long as I'm
sure.
healthy and ready to go, I'm gonna make sure I'm ready to go. I'll be willing to take what comes my way.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then we talked about you take on Jun Yong Park. Obviously, I think yeah, just look at the record. He seems like maybe the most like experienced guy you faced to date. What do you kind of see from him? I guess when you're on that first glance.
At first glance, I mean, I see like from his earlier fight, he seemed like he would be like a striker type guy I mean, he definitely has some hands on him. But from like his later fights, later in his career, it seemed like he's more transitioned more towards the like grappling, heavier on the grappling side. And so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be looking at someone who is trying to come in there and like hold me down, uh,
Mhm.
make it more of a grind for me. And I mean, definitely gonna be ready for that. Whether he chooses to stand with me or try to come in there and make it a grind, I'm gonna be ready regardless. I know it's
Yeah.
definitely. I never underestimate any of my opponents, no matter what. So
Mhm.
go in there, give him everything, just like I'm gonna give everybody else who stands in
Yeah.
front.
Yeah. I know you said that in your debut, obviously that it was good to go 3 rounds. Do you see this one going 3 rounds?
Um, I don't see it going 3 rounds because see, hey, I've also learned a lot too, man. I've added a lot more into my game and being this new build, this new weight, my body is kind of adjusted a little bit more to it, and so
Mhm.
we're gonna see a little bit more of I'm gonna show y'all a little bit more of what I've learned and what I can do in there too. So, and I don't plan on letting this go 3 rounds, but if it does, I mean, I'm still gonna be ready.
Yeah. But you're not getting used to 3 rounds either, right?
Oh, no, man. I don't want to get too comfortable with 3 rounds. It's the best thing to just get in there, get the job done, and go enjoy the rest of the night, you know?
Yeah.
I still like doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not paid by the hour.
No, sir. We don't get paid overtime.
Yeah.
So get in there, get the job done, and get out and be ready for another one. It's like I said, I'm trying to get as many fights as I can. So in and out, on to the next one.
For sure. Do you have like a sort of like a prediction? Is there a certain way you kind of see this fight going when you're like thinking about it?
I think like anything like second round. Once I've gotten their first round, to fill them out, test them up a little bit, and show him that he doesn't really have too much, and make him start opening up a little bit more. Then I feel like I'm gonna get in there, pick him apart, and get that finish second round.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
I know the last time we talked, this is gonna be one of my final things to talk to you about too. But I know you're kind of into like cosplay and stuff like that. I think we talked a little bit about Marvel too, if I remember
Mm.
correctly. Have you watched any like the new like Marvel shows? Obviously, WandaVision. I think Falcon
Oh,
Winter Soldier obviously just ended. Have you got a chance to catch up on those?
oh yeah, yeah. I watched WandaVision, and I got to watch. I think like the first two episodes of the Winter Soldier, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Those are pretty good, man. Pretty dope so
Yeah.
far. WandaVision was pretty good. I like how they did that. Um, it's the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm still trying to catch up to it. You know, I haven't really been able to make the time to
Yeah,
watch all.
yeah. Obviously. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of good stuff from Marvel coming out from Marvel so far.
Yeah, I actually haven't watched the finale yet of Falcon Winter Soldier, so I was kind of finger crossed. I was like, I hope he hasn't watched it either. So I'm glad you're a little
Not yet.
behind. So that,
Nah, I'm not trying to. You probably a little bit more ahead of more than me. I'm only at episode 2, so
yeah, no,
that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
fight week after fight week. You know, I'm definitely gonna catch up on everything.
There you
Yeah,
go.
but
Yeah.
yeah, so looking forward to watch all of those shows. I
Yeah.
did watch Mortal Kombat though. I don't know
Oh,
if you.
okay. What did you think about that?
I mean, I think my expectations were too high, but then when I kind of thought about it after I finished watching, I mean, this is Mortal Kombat. We all know the story, so it was like I felt like it was kind of rushed, but we all kind of already know the story, so it makes sense to why the movie felt so rushed. And I mean, it was okay. Yeah, it wasn't all of that.
Yeah. I feel like that happens a lot though too though with like things that, where like everyone knows the story before it goes into the movie too. That happens a lot with like books, I feel like too, where that turn into movies. Like it always feels rushed, right? Because they're missing little details and like things like that, but at the end of the day they have to fit it in a certain amount of time. So I get it too.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, the fight scenes were okay too. I mean, the fatalities were there. I was, I was kind of satisfied with some of the fatalities on there.
Cool.
The kill
Yeah.
scene,
Yeah.
pretty good.
That just came out what, Friday?
Yeah, that just came out Friday
All right,
on
nice.
HBO. I was like, oh man, you know what? Let me watch this before I get into the fights.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
It's
so
been kind of nice. Like if quarantine and COVID have given us anything, like I do like that you can actually get like the movies at home now too. Like I mean that
exactly.
I like that they've kept that even though things are starting to normalize a little bit here. I'm glad they're keeping that up.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, I would still definitely like to go to the movie theater experience just because of that's how we came up and stuff. But
Yeah,
being able
absolutely.
to have the choice of having it at home the same time it's out in the movies, that's spectacular.
Yeah, for sure. But
Hmm.
I'm not gonna keep you too long, Tavon. But anything that you want to say before I let you go, the floor is yours.
All I want to say is, y'all check out my YouTube channel. I'm now on there, just trying to get dropping some videos. I'm not as active on there right now, but I will be dropping some stuff. I also have some merch on tafonthedon.com. If you guys want to
Nice.
support, always welcome it. And May 8th, y'all be watching out for me. I will be out there, ESPN, getting
All right.
putting these hands on somebody.